Welcome back to the channel. So today's going to be a video about winterizing your camper, specifically the battery. If you look at Escapod's channel, they actually do a video on winterizing your camper, and Cameron does a great job at doing the water portion. The water in your camper needs to be winterized appropriately so you don't have any freezing. So I won't rehash that. He does a great job on that portion, but he really doesn't go into very much detail on the battery portion. And he actually has some information that I would disagree with. One of the big things that he mentions is you really have two options. You can either pull the battery and store them inside, or your other option is going to be to set up a trickle charge. Now, I confirmed with the battery manufacturer, Escapod, that second option really is not appropriate. When you have your battery stored inside your camper for the winter season, if you tried to put a trickle charge on there, that will actually diminish its overall longevity because you're cycling those cells repeatedly on a trickle charge. Furthermore, if you live in like the Northeast where I do, the temperatures are going to hit below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And the BMS, battery management system, will actually prohibit you from putting a charge on those batteries under 32 degrees. And the reason that is because you could actually hurt your cells and actually damage the battery if you have it charging below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So ultimately you're left with two options. Pull the batteries, or you can check your voltage repeatedly throughout the winter and then bring the temperature up in those batteries to above 32 degrees and then put a charge on it. And I actually addressed this in a previous video where I actually tried that second option, where I would just plan on checking the voltage, and then whenever it got down below 12.5 volts or so, I had planned to basically go out there, use an external source of heat to try to bring up the garage temperature, or if stored outside, I'd actually run the battery and run the heat and bring the temperature of the cabin up to above 32 degrees and then charge those batteries up. That's one of the nice advantages to having it stored inside, is that this is a winter camper. So I plan on using it in the winter. So I did not want to actually take the batteries out. Now, I ran into some problems with that, and ultimately I've decided to pull the batteries, and I will store them inside my house and then reinstall them for any time that I want to go camping. If you want to know why and how I got to this point, you can check out my other video where I go over the issues I had with storing my Escapod 360 batteries outside, and the issues I had ultimately with voltage drop and how quickly that happened. You can check that video out, and without further ado, let's go pull these batteries. First thing I like to do is check what it looks like right now. So I'm at 100%. I just charged this for a good 24 hours. 13.73 volts. Looks good. Then I come over here. 13.8 volts. So that looks good over there. Everything is good. Now, this button right here, I can twist that, and it turns this off. What's nice is this actually still tells me the voltage over here at the ZAMP controller. So technically, I could keep the battery in there and actually check just the ZAMP controller and see how much my voltage dropped. All right, first thing we got to do, take this off. All right, now we can take this off. And there's our batteries. All right, I won't do a deep dive into all of this stuff, but as you can see, this is where everything connects. That's your controller up there, your splitter to go to your head unit. This is where you will be able to tell how much amperage you're taking, your draw, and then this is your shut off, it looks like over there. So as you can see, you're hooked up here with your red going over to this side, and then you've got your red going up, and then your black is all like that. Okay. All right, for the next part, we just want to disconnect this with your negative first. And as you can see that down here or over here, you can see it's labeled as a negative right there. I believe what you need is a 9/16. All right, so you really couldn't see anything in here, especially with my head and body in here. But this is what you end up with is your connection between the two batteries. And so I'm going to save these. And then I was very careful when you take these off. You need to save all your hardware too to reconnect these. And what I do is I just take a plastic bag and I put them all in here. Now the last thing you got to do is actually undo these. Alright, I got it out. Not easy. This rod almost fell down into that cavity too. So keep that in mind. Alright, now storage. I just pop everything in there. There we go. It'll be ready for when I gotta install these bad boys again. Give it a sec. 13.71. Now let's do this over here. 13.71. So these are perfectly even. That is what you want. All right, so that's kind of a down and dirty on how to get that thing out. Just so you know, it is not easy. I know in the video I really kind of just chopped and put it together, and that's basically because you can't really see what I'm doing too well, because that spot to get in there and get the battery out basically is my entire body is in there, and there's really no room. So I just kind of explain that when you're in there and you're trying to get that out of there, it is pretty heavy. These batteries are not exactly light. They're not as heavy as AGM batteries, but they still have some heft to them. So what I found is I kind of teeter it up and turn it just a little bit onto the lip of the platform, and then I try to reach in a little bit higher up and over, and then I can kind of jockey it up and out. So that's what I did. It worked for me. Hopefully you'll find whatever way you need to contort your body to try to get those things out, but it's really not easy. So the last thing that we got to do is check the voltage periodically. Escapod says that it should be able to go 2-3 months without a problem for your winter, and then you can reinstall it and then charge those batteries back up. But if they do drop below like 12.5, 12.4 volts, you're going to want to start thinking about how much longer you want to let those sit before getting them installed again and plugging them in. There are external ways to charge the batteries, so if you find that your batteries are less adequate, so as the Escapod 360s that I have, you may want to invest into a way to charge them throughout the winter time.